um, school cafes, we have toilets, we have water taps, we have electrical things. So for if there is any maintenance purposes, right, so we call certain people, certain companies who are really specialized in those areas. So we call an electricians, and then they come. So there's those are the indirectly helping this institution to run function properly. So that's what we call it as. Then there is banks, of course, banks. So those are all under third parties. So this is what we call it as resources. So those days we store everything in a register in paper. Then the days of computers came, and you know what, computers came, and then it became databases. Databases, don't think about big databases. We start from the very low level, easiest one, Excel sheet. Excel sheet is the best database. So we can keep everything in the databases. um, Now, um, next is we need a planning session. What is planning session? um, Planning, what is called planning? The boss or the owner of that particular business, அவருக்கு வந்து ஒரு விஷன் இருக்கணும். He should have a vision. This I will be using English and Tamil possibly wherever I can fit in, so that people who don't understand Tamil doesn't need to feel bad. All right. uh, yes, I do know Hindi, I can speak Hindi as well, but that sort of thing. Okay. um, I will try to possibly use translate Tamil and English simultaneously. So அந்த பாஸுக்கு வந்துட்டு for the boss you should have a vision. That's what I was trying to say. Strategy, goal, plan, which is very important, without which a company will not go anywhere. Will not go anywhere. So when I was actually very young, I used to study about one of the things which I did was I was studying about because I'm from I was studying my engineering from Madurai. So actually, there were few companies over there. There was a lot of companies over there in a place Madurai, and there's so many entrepreneurs from Madurai. So there's Parveen Travels, no travels. Okay. Then there is called as KPN bus transport company. So I actually studied about them, how they actually do all these things. So that is what we call it as enterprise resource planning. This is in every part, even in our house. Dad, mom, children, and who else? Relatives, everybody. They're all people, but we also have resources. Am I right? And then dad and mom, they plan. Okay, my son is going to high school, my daughter is going to university, so I have to plan. Then they'll get married, so I have to make them settle them in their lives, buy them bike or car or houses, whatever it might be. So that is what is enterprise resource planning. We all do it, but what is it different in this webinar is, to maintain all these things, we have a separate tool, an application that runs on a computer, on a mobile device, etc. And that maintains all these things. That is what we are going to see in our next slide. So that is what I have put in the other slide, which is what is it actually talking about. You go through any of these now, I think pretty much you'll be able to relate. இப்போ உங்களுக்கு எல்லாம் அழகா புரியும்னு நினைக்கிறேன் இந்த படத்தை பார்த்தோன்னே. I think you'll be able to understand. So let's take for example human resources. Excuse me. Human resources. What is human resources? It is human themselves are resource, and anything that is subject to that. For example, or chinna example, I'll take a little bit, which is called as time sheet. We call time sheet. Say for example, the boss wanted to see, um, I wanted to know how many people have adhered to the timekeeping. Say for example, the institution starts at 9 o'clock. They wanted to see how many people are adhering to that 9 o'clock. So they wanted to standardize process. So now the people will be taking that register, and then they'll go count number. So it's tedious. So if you have an ERP system, and you have under you thousands and thousands of people are working, not only nationally, not only in a given state, but if you are doing it internationally, think about that. The mammoth of work, the the amount of work that you need to do manually, tedious. But if you have an ERP system, you just write a SQL query and then boom, there it is on a report. Same, for example, delivery. You have ordered something and you wanted to see from your inventory warehouse, has the delivery has come, what time has it, have they met their promises. People promise we will make sure the delivery is on time. So if they wanted to calculate audit purpose, company always does audits every 3 months. Some of the companies do 6 months, some of them do yearly. So there will be audit on their warehouses, on their inventory. Inventory is nothing but a place where you will store all your stuff. Pretty much, if you're thinking in your house, where your mom keeps all her stuffs, cooking items. Kitchen, uh, we call it as pantry. கிச்சன்லே இப்போ நம்ம ஊர்ல எல்லாம் வச்சிருப்பாங்க, ஆனா பேண்ட்ரின்னு தனியா வச்சிருப்பாங்க. Pantry is where you'll have rice, wheat, or your fridge will be there, and all your dal, etc. That's what we call it as inventory. ஒரு கம்பெனி இருந்தா இன்வென்ட்ரி இருக்கும். இன்வென்ட்ரியில you will have everything. When I say everything, warehouse can also be called as inventory, but underneath warehouse comes inventory. Inventory is like, how do I say? I'm just thinking for a very pretty easy example. Okay, let me put this way. Stationaries, stationery where you get pen, pencil, rubber, etc. In India, we have a company called as Nadraj, Camel, etc. I don't know what is now. So they have under pencils, and pencil or category edutha. If we take pencil as a category, different types of pencil will be there. HB pencil, 1 HB, 2 HB. So that one particular is what we call it as inventory. But if you take a warehouse, where under warehouse you'll have pencil, you will have erasers, you will have sharpeners, you'll have pen, you'll have paper. That is called, we call it as warehouse. So under warehouse, inventory is one part. So companies actually check often how much is the quantity of these pencils available in a given warehouse, and how many orders have come in for the pencils from so many shops around that particular area. Say for example, near Pondicherry, there are so many shops, there are so many students. Then they will actually come, they'll put an order to these warehouses. I need so many pencils, so many pencils, so many pencils. So in a given time, some people will do monthly, some people will do weekly. So I'm actually jumping gun. So please stay with me if you are trying to not getting the picture. I will do it slowly, because this is what we see planning. So how many people are placing an order for pencil on a given day, and so they calculate. So if that is what the trend is going on for weekly, for monthly, then they will say that this much pencils have to be made. So they will put an order to the manufacturing company saying that, guys, we need these many pencils on that particular given day. That is what these three things are talking about, actually: inventory, production, purchase, production planning. And engineering is what they do differently. Sales, what is sales. Now business intelligence, I'll put that because recently it's a very hot topic. From year 2000, when I started to move into, slowly get out of university and get into industry, business intelligence was an upcoming hot cake. Business intelligence ரொம்ப முக்கியம். ஏன்னா it is talking about reports. All of a sudden the boss wanted to know, can you tell me in the past 2 months what is our sales on a given item, excuse me. Say for example, again go back to pencil. Then the business intelligence, which has got plenty of data, from there the reports will come in. So I will talk more about that tomorrow. So that's what is ERP. What are the benefits? Look, there are plenty of benefits, but I've captured only some of them that which I could remember. This actually is talking about. I'll go through quickly here. So financial data. Let me talk about financial data first, little bit. Then I will go through the other parts. Financial data is very very important benefits because it's all about enterprise, all about you making profit. It's not a non-profit organization. It's all about profit. So that is why I put that as a first one, because that is one of the thing that actually keeps the ball rolling or the company rolling. So that's why. So you see here in the presentation here, what I put on the top level is the top management, which is the boss. I call them boss. The under them is the finance and accounting. So they would talk about not only the orders part, they would also talk about there are so many employees who are working here. How much have we spent on them? Salary, yes. Then there will be a loan, special loans. There will be perks for them. So it all counts about that. Then for how much money have we spent on certain depreciable products. When I say what does that mean is, say for example, depreciable products. Now சில பேருக்கு தெரியும், ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்காக சொல்கிறேன். இன்னைக்கு நான் வந்து மொபைல் வாங்குறேன்னா, if I'm buying mobile today, in another 6 months, இன்னும் 6 மாசத்துல அந்த மொபைலோட ரேட்டு கம்மியாயிடும். அதான் டிப்ரிசியேஷன். So whereas on the opposite side, if I buy a piece of land, it appreciates. So for people who do not know about that, what I'm talking, so they will count, the finance team has to count, I have bought chairs in this institution, I bought buses, I bought transport, I put petrol. So all these they will have to count, and then they have to come out with a figure that, sir, this month, this is the input, this much money we had, and this is the money we spent on, this is the money that we are now having as a revenue or savings, and this is what we are getting as a revenue. Pretty much what our dad does, isn't it? Dad does that. Okay, this is my salary, this is my expenses, I have to put for my son, my daughter, I have to buy this, I have to do this, then I'm buying TV, car, etc. And then what is remaining is my savings there, and then I put invested on this particular area, shares, or and then finally, oh yes, that is exactly what we are talking here, but on a enterprise level. So that's what on the red color say. Why did I put red color is because you're giving out the money, you're paying somebody. So that's accounts payable. To the suppliers. Suppliers is like people who give things to us, all right? So then on your other side, right side, I think because it's green because it's accounts receivable. I'm happy because money is coming in, right? Customers are coming in. That's why I put green over there. So all these are actually talking about finance. But underneath that, you see this supplies, conversion, storage, and shipping is like what I mean by supplies. If I wanted to make a pencil, what I need wood and I need lead. So the lead is being supplied by somebody, a supplier, and wood is being supplied by somebody. But then there's like two separate items. But then I have to have a machine which actually cuts the wood and then puts the lead inside. That's the conversion part in the middle. And then I store it in my warehouse, in my inventory, and then I ship it to many customers. Customers can be, who are my customers? There'll be a lot of shops, then there'll be a lot of institutions, schools who need pencils, erasers, can be anybody. So that's what is my customers. I think this should be enough. I got to check the time as well. So all right, so next is the customers. I pretty much now you would have understood who is a customer here. Standardizes the process of manufacturing. Very very important thing. If people who wanted to pursue your career in process management, I know a lot of mechanical people do learn about this one, and we got to thank these two industries, who are there, manufacturing and electrical. இவங்க manufacturing, production department, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, you got to give them good thanks. You know why? Because they have started somewhere and process, and they have excelled. So what is called process? I'll just take 2 minutes to explain what is process. Mm, you know if you say, for example, I go back to the pencil thing. Now what they will say is, I want to place pencil order, but I need wood. What kind of wood? There are different kinds of wood. What is the best wood? Then lead. That's what you see in a pencils: 1B, 1HB, 2B, 2HB. So those are the think tanks who decide that. Then they place the order to the suppliers. So how fast can you place an order to the supplier? Those days there was no internet. So what they used to do is they used to travel to that particular supplier, excuse me, and they actually place the order. Then they used to call telephones. Then it was mobile. Now then it was internet on your laptops or computers. Then now it is on always on your mobile. These days it's not even there. Why? Because the data is stored in a central location. The system itself will tell to the supplier, hey, you know what, this is what we need. And then this is what we call automation. So that is what process has improved, you know. That actually, why do they do it? Because time is money. So எவ்வளோ சீக்கிரமா நம்ம இதெல்லாம் பண்றோமா? For example, if you wanted to place an order in the food, yesterday I said this, you place an order, you remove the lagging, so you improve your process. How quickly can you make things happen? Turnaround time, we call it as. All right, then enhance the speed of manufacturing. Turnaround time சொன்னனே பாருங்க, enhances the speed of manufacturing process, decreases the inventory. அப்படின்னா என்னன்னா, these days I don't even store it, because why do I need to store? This is a very important aspect, a very interesting one. ஏன் ஸ்டோர் பண்ணோம்? Because it is there in the shelf for a longer period of time. எனக்கு காசு இல்ல. I need to what I mean is it's my money. So I have to put somewhere, I have to find somewhere, I have to put all my pencils there, and it will be lying there for 1 or 2 weeks. So what I'm saying is, if I improve my process, then actually it doesn't even needs to sit on the inventory. It can directly go from supplier to the customer. Appo then I don't need to keep a place, I don't need to pay money. That's what is called as decreasing the inventory, right? Then the ability to standardize the HR data, reporting is very important. Then social media, big data, so it should be able to connect to all these things, and then able to spread out the message, making it easy for everybody. Now, why did ERP come into picture for the very, very first time? See, initially, even now here in Australia, I want to share this one with you. I think it's in India. I think it's in everybody. என்னன்னா, எல்லாரும் அவங்க உலகத்துல தான் இருப்பாங்க. What I meant to say is everybody will be in their own world. I'll give you an example. இப்போ வீட்டில் இருக்கிறோம், எல்லார் கையிலையும் மொபைல் இருக்கும். பையன் மொபைலில் பார்ப்பான், அப்பா மொபைலில் பார்ப்பான், அம்மா மொபைலில் பார்த்துட்டு இருப்பாங்க. ஸோ யாரும் பேசிக்க மாட்டாங்க. So what I was trying to say is everybody at home will be having mobile and they will be in their own world. There won't be any place for interaction, right? So there won't be any integration. Only when they integrate, they can make things happen. It will be livelihood. Look, now I'm teaching here. I do not know how many of you are in mobile. You can chat with your boyfriends or girlfriends or whoever it might be, and you can place an order biryani, or you can even play games. I do not know, but I do not know how many of us are actually integrated, so that the best will be able to experienced. That's what I meant to say. So it's the same thing. Even in Australia, when I was doing an ERP project implementation, the departments would not come. They actually work in silos. They would not come because they hate change. சேஞ்சுன்னு ஒன்று வந்துட்டா எங்கேயும் வேலை போயிடுமோ அப்படின்னு ஒரு பயத்துல யாருமே வரவே மாட்டாங்க. ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். I used to feel very bad. I used to feel very difficult. But that's a challenge. That's why I've been paid that money, to bring everybody who are in their own world working together. So that's what exactly this picture represents. You see, the project management is working in silo. HR is working in silo. Sales, financial, logistics. Everybody are working in silo. But the boss will be dreaming. man, I have to go grow the business. I have to get so many customers. How is it possible? And everybody are working in silos. That's the hurdle. That's the problem. So in order to solve that, ERP was made into effect. So to grow the business, to satisfy customers, to outcompete rivals, very important. If you wanted to sustain in this environment, in this business model, you have to have these tools in hand. For example, um, people who come from, I hate to take this example, but I'm sorry, but I will take this. People who come out from IIT, Indian Institute of Technology, is totally different to people who comes like from me. I'll take my example from, say, the Institute of Technology, right? So if I wanted to beat anybody from IIT, I'm not saying that anybody is bad, but what I'm trying to say, I hope you will understand a good way. They wanted to outcompete means they should be excellent. Say for example, I take mobiles. In India you have Redmi, Xiaomi, etc. different mobiles. But if you wanted to sustain there, you have to outcompete your rivals like Samsung or Apple, then you should be excellent. That is what I call it out here. So ERP, uh, every mobile manufacturing companies, Xiaomi, Redmi, Vivo, or any Oppo, they all have ERPs, Apple, etc., right? Respond to changing market conditions, very important. What happens in this pandemic? Very important thing, right? How do we respond into this? The customers will drop, and so your accounts payable will drop, your finance will drop. So how to manage that? But if you have an ERP, you can see that very instantaneously, and the data will be real time, right? That's one of the most important thing that ERP has helped a lot of top management people to make important decisions, manage each function piece of the business, develop needed organization capabilities. During this pandemic, excuse me, how do we respond? How do we actually depend on certain capabilities of a particular department here, like HR? During pandemic, we need to keep our resources, our customers, our employees, whether they are safe, whether they are good health conditions, keep sending them positive messages. If the That's what the boss, he's a very well versed, he's very good man, he's very good attitude person, principal, so he wants to speak to his people. Don't worry, everything will be all right. See, so he depends upon the HR and sends out all these messages. So people in the customers also, they will remember that this is the best one, and they will come back. So that's why VRP is important. So that's why I put this one under one umbrella. See, they are not separated. So that's why I put this one, right? Now, how? Based on how, up purpose. So this is actually, I reiterate, uh, I'll give you an example, live example, right? I was working in this organization. Um, okay. I do not know how long do I have time. So let me check my time. 4:50 in India. Um, okay. I will give this example. All of a sudden, the management wanted to see, um, are they spending enough money on the resources. Um, so what they wanted to see is how many resources are there nationally. ஆஸ்திரேலியா ஃபுல்லா எத்தனை பேர் அவங்க கீழே வேலை பார்க்குறாங்க, அவங்க யார் யாரெல்லாம் என்னென்ன ப்ராஜெக்ட்ஸில் வேலை பார்க்குறாங்க. ஸோ வாட் தே வாண்டட் டு see in Australia, how many resources do they have, and what are the projects they are working on, and if any one resource is overloaded, then they can redistribute to other people. Then if nobody has got any work, then they can give work to them, or if they can slice some people, so which means that they can send out some people. So they wanted to build a uh, time sheet. So I was involved in building a time sheet, but I was involved in building time sheet on mobile devices. Why mobile devices? Because engineers will be working anywhere. They will be working on the fields. They will not be working in offices all the time. So that company was an engineering company. They were responsible for erecting towers, telecom towers everywhere, all over Australia. So what they were doing is They'll be working in places where even antenna will not be there. They will be working in remote locations. They will be working in warehouse. Some of them will be working in office, of course. So that's why they wanted to do it on the mobile application. So ERP on a mobile, if some people are thinking like that, yes, that's the next generation. This is I'm not, what we are doing in Australia is a next generation thing. I'm pretty sure some of the companies in India are doing it, but not all of the companies. So ERP was once in 2000, early 2000 or 1990s, late 90s. It was only a desktop application. For example, SAP, for example, Oracle, PeopleSoft. It was all desktop application. It was not mobile. They never thought about mobile, but these days it has gone mobile. So I was part of that, and it was also on cloud computing. So anybody could do from anywhere. And so that's what I've written: strategic approach to the effective management of people in an organization, responsible employee recruit. So கண்ட மணிக்கு எம்ப்ளாயிஸ் எல்லாம் ரெக்ரூட் பண்ண தேவையில்ல. What I was trying to say, there should be a process in the recruitment process, training and development. If some of the employees are really good but they don't have work at this time, so they can be upskilled, so people can actually be marked. Success and reward management, that's a very huge topic in ERP. It's these last two, training and development, success reward, it's a very huge topic in ERP. Lot of companies do that in a big way. So if people who wanted, if there is any HRs here, human resource people, please, I would encourage to look into those in either YouTube, or you can search for yourself. Next is this is for all the managers who wanted to plan ahead. I go back to the same example. Engineering company, the project managers wanted to plan ahead. What I mean by plan ahead, நான் ஒரு இடத்துல இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணணும்னா, ஒரு டவர் இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணணும்னா, existing tower. So if they wanted to install a tower, a telco tower in a particular place, they have to find out whether that is a new place or an existing place. If it's new place, then they will have to engage with the builder, so foundations. Then they will have to involve with the electrical company, battery. Then they will have to involve with the once the battery is there, then they have to put the connections from underground. Then they have to involve with the warehouse, inventory. எதுக்கு போல்ஸ் எல்லாம் எடுத்துட்டு வந்து நடுறதுக்காக வச்சு கட்டி அதுக்கு then they have to involve with the engineering services, radio frequency. So they have to check. See, so they have to plan. They have this, we call it as work breakdown structure, WBS, work down break structure. Okay, wow. So for that, it's a very, very interesting topic, MRP, material resource planning. Very, very vast subject, very interesting. It's all under supply and demand, or supply management, supply chain management. So I think many of you do know that supply chain management is very easy to understand on a very basic scale. It is like you order some food, right? So that's demand. So you just order. Then the restaurant is the one who supplies you, so it's a supply. Then the chain around it is called as supply chain management. So a lot of, like, I'll go back to this particular slide quickly. You see this supply, then conversion, then storage, shipping. This is called supply chain management, material product flow. So you manage your material and you plan your material. That is called as MRP on a very high level. But if anybody actually wanted to pursue your career once again in one of the ERP subject, this is one of the subjects. If you are so much interested in planning, I encourage you to do on this one, MRP. Not many people are there for this logistics, planning, resources, shipping. There are so many places where this is actually needed. Even for project management, MRP is very important. So that is one of the skills that. So some people do it mathematically. People who are interested in maths, who are very, very good in numbers and formulas. They are the ones who enjoy this MRP, material resource planning, demand, supply chain management. It's all about numbers. You can't miss it. But if you are on an international scale, think about on an international scale or even national scale, huge amount. So for that, ERP provides a platform. It's a platform where it actually, you don't need to do all those calculations. You just put the numbers here, and sometimes you don't even get the numbers. The system gets, because it's all integrated. It gets from the inventory, it gets from the time, so it connects to every other dots, and then all you have to say is by the process. You got to draw the process and then connect the dots. The system does by itself, and it will say, "Sir, this is what the total number of materials you need from this day to this day. This is what the pattern it goes." So it actually studies the pattern. It's a type of artificial intelligence. So slowly we are going there, but have been fortunate enough to implement some of the artificial intelligence in all those companies through the ERP. All right. Next one is I'll skip this one because I've talked on this one. This is actually inventory, warehouse management, materials, record keeping, etc. So that's how the ERP helps the company. Then this is what I call reporting. Remember I said in my experience where they wanted to see how many employees are there, how many projects are they working, how many not they're working. So that is what it actually helped people. I developed and designed and implemented all over Australia on the mobile application, and people started using it, and then managers and top level managers were able to see the performance of the resources, and what they can do if they are not performing well. Whether should I upskill them, should I train them, or should I reuse in some other different departments. So it was really helpful for them. So it's basically talking about business intelligence or reporting. All right. um, the next one is, yes, very interesting. Yesterday's, people who have missed yesterday's webinar, CRM actually comes under ERP. If you remember the previous slide, on your right hand side it will be green color customers. So managing these customers is also under ERP. That's why I say stay connected to customers, streamline the process, improve profitability, improve sale of product. I was fortunate enough to implement SAP only on customer side, because SAP is a very huge application, ERP application. Some of you would have known it. For people who do not know it, it is a German application. Initially, they wanted to do only for manufacturing. That's how they started, for manufacturing. Then they grew to human resources. Then they go into finance. So that's how they developed themselves. So I was fortunate enough to work on SAP only on the customer side. So customers will have accounts, categorization, segmentation, and context. So I was fortunate enough to work on that, and then how to integrate with Salesforce, which is a CRM application. So I have seen people using that. It has helped them from their tedious way of working in the old legacy system, and this new system have helped them to make their life a lot more easier. So that's what I was saying. Now comes financial transactions. As I said earlier, account receivables, accounts payable, budgeting forecast. Budgeting forecasting is a very um, how many of you know our finance minister, madam's Nirmala Sitharaman, budgeting and forecasting? How to every other industries, how much should I put the money there, how much will I get revenue, taxation, taxes, how much money is coming in. So that's all under accounts receivable. The tax that we pay, it goes under account receivables to the government. Then the what I call um, the monthly, what is it called? I forgot. The fees, sorry, the fees that we pay as a student, that goes, for us, it is account payable. We are paying, but for the institution, it is account receivables. But for the institution, when it is goes to paying their teachers and the non-teaching staffs, it is for them. It is account payable. So that's how it's all. Then they will have to budget and forecast. So it's exactly, you relate to that. So given on a very large scale ERP system, this is how it goes. Now I will talk few advantage and disadvantage. Very interesting, controversial topic. This one is why, because uh, very difficult, very difficult. I will first talk about disadvantage, then I will go to the advantages. Cost and time. Um, Disadvantage, cost. ERP is a mammoth complex system which costs you a lot. When I say cost, not one-time investment, because you got to maintain it. A lot of companies will say there are two different. Let me explain. I'll take 2 minutes to explain this. A lot of company will say just take the product and use it as such. Okay. Some other companies will say customization. எனக்கு நான் வேற மாதிரி செய்யறேன் சார், எனக்கு வேற மாதிரி எனக்கு டிசைன் பண்ணி கொடுங்க. Sir, I run my business differently, so I want to do a lot of things differently. Say, for example, if I have an ERP, I say that I want my in my own language. It can be Hindi, it can be English, or it can be Tamil, or it can be Kannada, or Telugu, whatever it meant. So then they have to code and change everything. So that is called as customization. So we have to maintain the customization year after year after. So அதுக்கு வந்துட்டு it will take a lot of money and time. If somebody is on mute, not on mute, please go on mute, please. Then migration. If I am fortunate enough, I will be talking about migration some other time. It's a very tedious. Excuse me. Hello.
Hello. Are all participants please mute your
Mike.
audio? We cannot hear the speaker's voice actually. Thank you.
Thank you. Migration is a very important topic, but it is very tedious. Why it is tedious? Because we do not know in a given company what kind of database are they using, how are they managing their data, structured, unstructured. We do not know. So cleaning up their process. So tomorrow I will be covering this migration topic a little bit. So if you have a chance, jump in tomorrow so we can do it. So migration is a very difficult one. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money. That's why there are really migration specialists. We call them as data specialists, data migration specialists. They know what they're doing. So if anybody who is interested in your career options, this is one of the career options you can choose, data migration specialist. You can be well versed in your database, right? Then the third one, the last one is change. Change management is a very hot department in all the industries, and it pays a lot of money. So if somebody wanted to pursue a career, I would encourage to go in this space as well. People don't like change. திடீர்னு ஒரு மாறுதல் வருது, அவங்களுக்கு பிடிக்கவே பிடிக்காது யாருக்குமே. People won't like all of a sudden a new change. Have we got accustomed to coronavirus? Coronavirus is a change. It's a bad change, and it has created such a mess in not only physically but even mentally stress. So that's a change. How do we manage that? So for that, there are so many specialists called as change specialists. Even if you go to Google and then search for jobs in change management, you'll find plenty. Change management in implementing a new system, change management in the process, change management in some kind of pandemic or all of a sudden war. It's a very hot role in government, in every kind of industries. Very important job for them. So these are the disadvantage. What are the advantages, right? Is integration, like I said in one of the previous slide, where everybody are working in silos and then they all come under one particular umbrella. That's what we call it as integration. And I was fortunate enough to do this kind of integration. For they were actually we call it as verticals and horizontals. Horizontals na enna, things will not change. Verticals na different departments. For example, if in an institution, verticals, what I call it, different departments: computer department, IT department, electrical department, communications department. What else? There are a few other departments, right? So these are verticals. What doesn't change is the horizontal. What doesn't change? There will be students, there will be staffs, there will be professors, there will be HOD. So these are the horizontals. Now, what happened is in one of the biggest company in Australia, who are engineering company, they do a lot of jobs for the big companies and governments. I was fortunate enough to work on the telecom one. Then there was this NBN, internet fast speed internet provider. Then fixed comms. Then water, gas, etc. So these are very, very big domains. Um, and very interesting is, as I said earlier, they were not willing to open up. அப்படின்னா அவங்க ப்ராசஸே என்னன்னு சொல்லவே மாட்டாங்க. ஸோ ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருந்தது. It was very difficult for me to break open. It was really difficult. So what we have to do is, um, நம்ம ஊர்ல ஒருத்தன் வந்து ஒரு மாதிரி சொல்லுவான், இன்னொருத்தன் ஒரு மாதிரி சொல்லுவான். So somebody will say, this is how it works. The other fellow will just say the opposite. So it was very confusing, because we were, as a third party, we went inside from a consulting company and we were doing this progress. Very difficult. And we have to escalate to the CIO, and things slowly have to change. Then we went again, spoke the same thing, and get the requirements. And we have to find out what are the different departments where we have to integrate the data, integrate the people, integrate the machines. Only then, integration is a very, very, it's a backbone for ERP. If it is not integrated, ERP is a big failure in that company. அந்த கம்பெனில ஒரே ஒரு டிபார்ட்மெண்ட் வந்து இது ஃபெயிலியர் ஆச்சு. ஏன்னா they were not totally willing. In one of the department in that company, they were not willing at all. ஏன்னா அவங்க எல்லாருமே, sorry to say it, most of them were above 60 years. So they were not willing for change. It was very difficult. It was a failure model. So that's why I said one of the disadvantage, which I did not put here, is change. I put it's very generic change because it affects your people. People are the biggest disadvantage for ERP. Some people are adoption. Yesterday I said, Nathan நான் சொன்ன CRM ல having an application is great. Having an application is great, but how much are you using your application is it what makes it very, very robust and very, very useful to the market. Example for your mobile நீங்க எடுத்துக்கோங்க. எத்தனை அப்ளிகேஷன் நீங்க யூஸ் பண்றீங்க? How many applications do you use in your mobile? If you recently mobiles come up with reporting tool, business intelligence. It's called a screen time. How much hours are you watching your screen? They call it a screen time, and they give up a breakdown of how many applications are you using for how many minutes, hours, and how much are you spending your energy on. That actually is connected to a health application inside your mobile that actually measures your health. Based on that, it actually measures your thinking capability and how is your heart rate, etc. See how it is all integrated. See, that's what I was saying, that ERP is going to the next level. It is no more on your desktop or on your some other site. It is going on mobile, and it is very integrated. I will talk more about this. So these are all very interesting topics. We call that as human analytics. uh, I don't know, we have heard about data analytics, but I do not know how many of you have heard about human analytics. We would have heard about artificial intelligence. I do not know how many of us have heard about augmented reality, virtual reality, etc. So this one example which I gave you, where your mobile, which actually dictates your reports, screen time, எவ்வளோ நேரம் இந்த அப்ளிகேஷன்ஸ்லாம் நீங்கள் யூஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கீங்க. So why did I say that? I came to say that because the more you adopt your mobile, That's why mobile is so super hit in the market, because we kind of got this mobile as our friend, as our son and daughters. More actually, some cases where it's irony to say, but that's a true fact. It's become more. We take care of the mobile more than our ourselves sometimes. Uh, so that's why it's a super hit adoption. In the same way, ERP, the more we adopt in the company, it becomes a super hit. Otherwise, it is not a super hit at all. Because of cost and time, a lot of people will lose the energy, will lose the interest to adopt this particular application. So that is why it is a disadvantage. But integration is, it integrates with every other department, and that helps to bring all the data into one particular place. That's why I said eliminate duplicate data. A lot of people um, in other department also will have the same student, same number, etc. Here, right? So that's what I said. And security and access of data, very important. I will talk about that tomorrow. All right, I got only two more slides to go. Now, what do you see in the market now? So if I have to realize the benefits which I put on the top, all these ones have to be there. Open software. I don't think that there is open software for ERP. Maybe they are, but they might not be robust. Difficulty in maintenance, one of the biggest difficulties. Or I would say revenue on investment no topic here. Excuse me. There's a topic called as revenue on investment. I put so much money on a given place and I'm expecting a revenue. And if I'm not able to get that revenue, what's the point? Maintenance problem. That difficulty in managing the gap. See, I said in some instance where there were elderly people, 60 plus, and the recently young fellows, thriving fellows coming there. That is a resource problem, human resource problem, managing the gap. Time over, and because of that, I'm losing time. So realization of benefits is not that much. So that's why a lot of companies, they will be very scared. Should I go for ERP or can I sustain without an ERP? That's what they will be thinking. That is why I kept this as a red color one. Why red color? But still I go up, because even though you have so many problems, ERP has got the power to take your company to the next level. So that's what I put down. So what's next future? See, these are the points for people who are really interested. I would encourage you guys to look into these, all these part. SaaS, what is that? Software as a service. um, Pretty much some of the IT people would know this one. Now, how do I say? Um, Uber Eats. I don't know whether India's got Uber Eats. I think they have Zomato, etc. They are all software as a service. They would not have a company at all, but they will be using a software which will be used as a service, which is a mobile application. I see it's all cloud. That's why I put in all in one box. They're working operating on a cloud, they're operating on a mobile device. So as I said, I was privileged enough to work on these technologies in an ERP. ERP was never intended to be cloud or mobile, but slowly, even now, SAP, Oracle, all those other ERPs are moving into cloud and mobile computation. And I was also very much privileged to work in artificial intelligence on the ERP side. So artificial intelligence is the upcoming trend. So for students, I would encourage you to go on this path. Social media integration, yes. Suppliers, these suppliers were good. Facebook, like, so that brings more customers. So that's what social media integration, role based in global ERP. So these are the future for a given ERP. Uh, I do not know, have I finished in the right time? It's 5:15. That's all I have. If you have any questions or um, you wanted to share your thoughts, you're most welcome to do it. Any questions you can ask me. Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Yep.
Good evening, sir. Charles, sir. That is one question regarding what is virtual thing.
What is virtual chain?
Chain.
What do you mean by virtual chain? Did I say that? I don't remember.
I think
I said
it comes
virtual
under law.
reality. Virtual reality is what I said, not
Okay.
virtual chain.
I think
Virtual reality, yes.
they got confused. Maybe the question they would like to host, but they have told us virtual chain. Can you please explain them, sir?
Virtual reality is okay. I will talk about that tomorrow. Your mobile is a virtual reality. You play games there. You buy a product like for example, biryani or any food things, right? It is as if you are in front of the supplier or restaurant. You go ask them, sir, I want this one. So that is what we call it as virtual reality. I used this example yesterday on the CRM. What I said was, um, you have visited this restaurant for the first time, then you have ordered some biryani. The next time when you enter, the system itself will ask you, sir, do you want biryani? Do you like the biryani, or order biryani, or do you want to order something else? So that is what we call it as virtual reality. It makes you to feel that as if you are co- in the in the restaurant. There is one more thing which I actually wanted to say, which is like, using your mobile phone. You can say, for example, you want to buy a house, and what they will do is they will record the house in such a way as if a person is walking inside the house, and they record it. So when you actually, when it's put on sale on the web page, if you click that virtual reality thing, when you get inside, you walk in as if you are inside the house and you are doing it. And if you look at Samsung website, I encourage people who are here to go to Samsung website. They will have a goggle on your eyes, and you will feel as if you are going in a go-kart, or கிஷ்கின் தலை போனா மேல இருந்து விழுறோம்ல. So அந்த மாதிரிலாம் games, they will have some games like that, as if you're going to fall down, as if it's so real. So that's what I call it as virtual reality. But that's a gaming industry. A lot of gaming industry use that. But it's an ERP. It's again an ERP. Under ERP, it comes in. But I would encourage you to go and look into these things in the internet, more on the internet, because if I talk, this won't be enough. It's more. Anyways, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir.
Yes,
Sir, sir,
please ask.
sir,
கேளுங்க.
sir, what are the direct benefits of ERP, sir?
For direct benefits,
What are the
there are
direct
so many
benefits
benefits, but very
ERP?
important benefit is money. Sorry to say that, but that's a very important financial data. How much I'm putting my money, investing on my money, and I'm making sure all my investments I'm able to get back as a revenue in a different form, in either in a short span of time or in a very large span of time. It's totally up to you. So the ERP will give you, it will ask you questions. How soon do you want that revenue to come into your place? So based on that, you would be able to see that predictive or predictions. Sir, this is what is the investment on this particular items, and this is what would be a revenue on a given date. That is one of the benefits, but there are other benefits as well, which I actually spoke on slide number 7. Yes.
Thank
What
you very
kind?
much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir, for that answer. Another student has asked a question regarding ERP. What are the sectors use ERP?
Good question. It's a very practical question. It depends upon the organization. Look, in India, I know the governments use. Then I know Reliance company use, and I know some of the mobile companies like all these mobiles, Redmi, all those people, they use, and pretty much whoever has got warehouses. Um I think lot of company use ERP. There might be a famous ERP, SAP, BSNL uses SAP. Vodafone uses. Those are the companies which I can think of. There are so many other which can use. Sorry. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir. One more question, final question. Um, what is the impact of AI in ERP and CRM?
Ha! Impact of AI, artificial intelligence. Everything will be artificial intelligence from now onwards because it's all integrated. I said integration is the powerhouse. It's a backbone. I said backbone, right? Yes. When you integrate, you'll have all the data in the system connected. Now, there is a problem with artificial intelligence, that is, it's still in infant state and it is coming up. Why? Because the data that has been fed has to be cleaned, has to be prepared. There's a lot of things which I'll be covering tomorrow. And um, artificial intelligence will actually predict, will be able to predict. It's actually an algorithm, artificial intelligence. So based upon how you wanted to write your algorithm is what you will get the results. um, the share markets, which they actually say, this share will go, blockchain. If somebody have heard about blockchains, that's all using AIs pretty much. All right, I see from Vanita, how
Yes.
can we use in education sectors like schools and colleges? Look, it depends upon the education institution. Do they really want to go to ERP? I would encourage anybody who is starting to just use CRM for the moment. Why? Because um, it's so look, it's not my thing. It's the boss. He should have a vision. Now, tomorrow, in next 20, 10 years, 20 years, I'm going to go on national level. If their education institutes are like that, then definitely the amount of resources that they would be requiring. I remember I said the first slide, it's about resources, which is people. People in the enterprise. Resource is all about materials, money, etc. Then the planning. Based upon that, how big it will be your people group, your customers, and how big will be your um, materials and management. Based upon that, and from here, where do you want to go in your future is what will enable the leaders to take that decision. It's not how I can do it straight away. No. Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Vanita.
Sangeeta ma'am, I would like to
Hello.
ask, present the vote of time.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir,
Thank you for
I'm Dr. K. Madan.
there's a question.
Yes, sir. Yes, doctor. Please.
Uh, I have a question. Is there any
Please.
unemployment problem is going to be created by AI, sir?
Is there any
Unemployment problem.
employment problem
Yes.
for whom?
If you're implementing the AI in all the sectors.
Ah, yes, 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 yes. That's a very good question. That's what a lot of people are discussing right now. What doctor has asked me here is, if we are implementing artificial intelligence or robotics, will there be um, jobs for human resources? Look, um, there are. It is still at its infant state. When I say infant state, it's at baby state. Artificial intelligence, robotics, automation, it's all at the infant state. Why? They are actually pushing it for, it's a broad. I don't want to go behind the scene, which is the politics, but from the front end, the benefits are, humans are prone to error. Like they can be stuck in traffic, they can be having some problems like drunkenness, or they have disease and they cannot pursue. So these are some of the places where a human cannot perform, or their performance index will come down. So in that cases, how can we actually still sustain the company? See, for example, இப்போ இந்த pandemic வந்திருக்கு, a lot of people cannot go out and work. So in that case, still the company can it work? Yes, machines can go and deliver. In a lot of places, um, in Western countries, they use drones to go and deliver the food. People போக தேவையில்லை, ஏன்னா because of they're scared of the viruses. So அந்த மாதிரி situationsக்கு, for that kind of situations, can we use robotics, can we use artificial intelligence? That is what they are trying to see, how they can actually balance it out. But that's a nice question, doctor.
Thank you, sir.
Participants, you have any more questions?
Sir, what
Yes.
are the modules of ERP, sir? What are the
What?
modules of ERP?
Modules of ERP, very good. முன்னாடியே ஒரு ஸ்லைட்ல காட்டினேன், 7வது ஸ்லைட்ல. ஃபர்ஸ்ட் திங் இஸ் ஃபைனான்ஸ் ஒரு மாடியூல். மெட்டீரியல் அண்ட் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் இஸ் another module. Then project management is another module. Accounts payable, accounts receivable module இருக்கு. Manufacturing, logistics module இருக்கு. See, lot of different ERP in the market have got their own flavors. சரிங்களா? எஸ்ஏபிக்கு போனீங்கன்னா சிமிலரான விஷயங்கள் எல்லாத்தையுமே ஒரே ஒரு மாடியூல்ல வச்சிருப்பாங்க, ரிலேட்டடான விஷயங்கள்லாம். So similar to manufacturing, under manufacturing it will have inventory, manufacturing process, production, etc. So finance, under finance they will have finance, accounting, account receivable, account payable. So they will have everything. But if you go to Oracle, they will have different. If you go to some other ERP like industrial finance systems, they'll have different. So basically all you have to understand is these are the foundations, which is customers, suppliers, finance, then materials. These are the general modules that we have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charles, sir, for sharing such valuable information regarding ERP. The session was really very interesting and informative. Thank you so much for spending your precious time with us in spite of your busy schedule. Thank you so much, VC sir, for spending your valuable time for the full session with us and encouraging us on both the days. Thank you so much to all the participants for your patient listening. Last but not the least, I thank the Almighty. Thank you one and all. So the session is over for the day. Participants, you can join your tomorrow's webinar at 3:55 p.m. And tomorrow's webinar is on data analytics. Thank you so much. I hope all of you have filled the feedback form. Only then you'll receive the certificate. Okay, participants, please stay with us. We'll give you the feedback form so that you can fill it.